Hello. I'm sitting here in my home in Arroyo Seco, New Mexico, and I was just going to pull a card for the Lionsgate, the 8-8 Lionsgate. Seems to be a very potent moment of focus, of focusing our attention. A lot of people look at that 8-8 as a kind of an energetic portal opening things up, and so I figured I'd pull a card, do a reading. Those of you that don't know, I do channeled readings and facilitate energy work via my website, gammawavehealing.com. Been doing this kind of work for over 20 years when it comes to the readings. I also facilitate cleanses with my partner, Amy, and we facilitate a cleanse process called the Grand Emergence Cleanse, which it comes from South Africa, from our dear mentors and friends, my dear sisters Rhoda and Zelkia. And so doing these channeled readings, I do them in a little bit of a different way, intuitive translation of what the energy of the card should represent. And then I also check in and go access that gamma state that I use in my healing work and channel in information. So we're going to pull a card here on behalf of humanity, everything that we need to see, maybe not everything, but some of the things that we need to see as it relates to the energy that we're in right now here on the Lionsgate, the 8-8 Lionsgate. I use the Robin Wood deck you can see behind me. I always frame my quarterly readings. That is my summer solstice reading that is behind me there on the wall. So we're going to cut my cards and fan them out and see what we can pull for our reflection today. Here they are. And as I often do when I pull the cards, I check in. What is our most appropriate piece of information here for the Lionsgate? There it is. All right. And we have pulled the Five of Swords. So this Robin Wood deck, I love the artwork. I came across this maybe 20 years ago, maybe in the last 5-6 years or so. It's been my primary deck. I love the imagery. It's based off of the Rider-Waite deck, kind of your traditional imagery, but I love her artwork and also the manifestations of the energy. So the Five of Swords. Five of Swords is like an old friend of mine. When I first started doing readings for myself and learning the tarot back in the year 2000, is the summer solstice of 2000. Actually, it's been 26 years since my first reading. This was a one that I learned a lot about, myself and my journey. So the swords, the major arcana and the minor arcana is how the tarot is typically divided. We have in the major arcana, that's going to be kind of the universal energies, like the trump cards, card 0, the Fool, all the way through card 21, the World, and that represents our soul's journey as we're moving through and learning universal energies, applying, supporting us in different ways. And then we have the minor arcana, of which this is a part of, the four suits. The suit of the swords, which represents the air element. The sky is a part of that. The wands, which represents the fire element. The cups represents water, and the pentacles represents the earth element. And so each one of these suits is then also divided into the numbered cards of ace through 10, and also the court cards, the page, the knight, the queen, and the king, which all represent the kind of behind the scenes energy that's developing and is made into manifest reality as the ace through 10. So in this case, this is the swords, the air element, which represents the mental energies. And we have the five of swords here, which is, we see this guy kind of like laughing and mocking. Maybe he has defeated the other warriors there. And that's what this energy is the energy of defeat, fear of defeat in particular. So to pull the five of swords in this moment is kind of an interesting thing. There's a lot of tension, a lot of energy, a lot of things in motion in the world. There are a lot of dynamic changes that are unfolding. And the Five of Swords represents that state of mind whereby we have our fear of defeat. It's like our memories out of past experiences that maybe where we didn't succeed, and it's like the memory of that comes forward in our mind and it impacts us in the present moment. It may even prevent us from taking action in our future. And so the way that we move through this, these are mental patterns, and this is maybe something that would be a familiar energy for you, like a fear of a fear of failure, asking the person out on a date and being afraid that they're going to reject you. It would be like really feeling that energy of maybe a job opportunity that opened up at your job that you want to apply for, but then the fear comes in and creeps in and tells you that you're not going to get the job, and so then you don't even apply. There could be a number of different examples of this where it's like we use that experience out of the past, and that has created maybe heartbreak, maybe trauma, maybe disappointment in whatever the situation was, and then that energy, it comes in and it colors our experience and redirects us away from where we need to go, because we're living in a state of fear that is then contracting the energy available to us. It's closing down the opportunity of our divine mind to be able to guide us. And so what we do is we take action. That is how you move through this type of energy, is by taking action. So let's check in and see, as our Lion's Gate, what is the message here around the Five of Swords, fear of defeat. What is that message that is coming through for us now? So let's see. All right, Five of Swords, fear of defeat, and on the 8-8 Lion's Gate. Well, this is a very familiar energy for many, many, many people these days, and has been an ally, perhaps at points of time in our life, maybe encouraging us not to take that risk, but trying to protect us from getting hurt again, from experiencing the rejection, from falling short of what we set out to achieve. And sometimes those falling short, those rejections, etc., that they bring a lot of pain with it. It brings a lot of impact for us emotionally and mentally. And when those experiences aren't fully resolved and integrated, when you see those experiences of your life and they just kind of live under the surface, maybe festering even a little bit under the surface and bringing forward limitation into our experience, once we recognize this, when we recognize this pattern, it's imperative that we take action in the face of the fear, no matter what it is, that fear is a means of contraction, of a means of constriction within our life that limits the opportunities, limits the energy available to us. When we allow ourselves to be guided by that fear, we allow ourselves to have that fear actually driving the ship, making the decisions, then we will necessarily create situations of stress and limitation and lack and disappointment within our life. And so looking now, how this is relevant to the Lion's Gate, that this is a very large energetic portal. It's an opening of energy. It's the solar energy from the summer energy here in the Northern Hemisphere, that energy flooding through, bringing in the unlimited creation. When we look at it as named the Lion's Gate as well, this has special resonance for me and for many others, due to the connection to the lions or the feline or leonid beings that are present here in our world now, supporting us. And so these Leonid beings, these higher dimensional beings that are human beings that out of the stock of what we would consider a lion or tiger, mountain lion, etc., the large felines in our world. That's the way in which these beings appear. And they are renowned through all of the cosmos as warriors. They embody courage. So that's something that we can also take to heart in this moment, that there is just a tremendous amount of challenge that is going on right now. There are so many energies that are being squeezed up from deep within us and rising to the surface, bringing forward maybe memories of past experiences where we fell short or where we did not succeed. Maybe the squeeze is bringing up old energies purely of fear. Fear within your nervous system, fear within your body, fear within the memory. And so what this Lion's Gate is encouraging us to do is to stand with courage, that the way through our fear, to have these old experiences that imprinted us with experiences of fear, that the way through that is to recognize it and then to take action in spite of our fear. So as we're seeing these situations unfold in our life, during this moment of intensity, and we see perhaps choice points rise, or we see, circumstances or opportunities rise, and when we encounter that feeling of fear, that is our opportunity to make a different decision. That's your opportunity to feel that fear and to balance that fear against your heart, against what it is that you truly desire. And when you weigh that against your fear, you can see just how limiting that fear frequency can be. And it's then the taking action in spite of that fear that begins to liberate you out of that unconscious patterning. It begins to open you up to the unlimited possibility of energy that is flowing through our world right now, helping us to shape a new reality, helping us to shape this new earth. And so this is a reminder, even though this is a reflection, of a kind of challenge energy, this is an opportunity for us. These types of energies that are rising now within our field, the triggers that are coming up to the surface really close and impacting us emotionally, these are the energies that are the very final opportunities. They are the final opportunities of these distorted energies to manifest into reality. And in those moments when we experience these fears rise, when we experience the moment where that old memory would have you constrict your life and your experience, it would have you play small instead of living large, living as you truly are. It's in those kinds of moments then when you recognize that energy and you make a conscious choice to take action in spite of that fear, in spite of any potential rejection, in spite of, potentially not getting that job or not getting the relationship, whatever that is, that you take action in spite of that fear. And what ends up happening then is neurologically, you reprogram your nervous system as your conscious awareness begins directing energy to mobilize you forward. You have that recognition then that there is interference, running within you that is based upon that old patterning of fear. And in that moment of recognition, in the moment of taking action and moving yourself forward, there's an immediate transmutation of that energy and pattern that begins to take place within you. And what also happens then is you open up yourself into the unlimited opportunities of this reality. And what follows this then is the Six of Swords. Immediately after this, as you transform that energy, you take direct action to transform that energy of fear, where you're holding yourself back, where you're editing your words, whatever the case may be. That energy translates then from a 5 into the 6, which is organized, it's harmonious, it's about all of the different aspects of the self, of the true self coming through into manifest expression. And so that's the outcome, is that if we're able to take action in spite of the fear, if you're able to choose what it is that is inspiring you, that is filling you with love, that is filling you with joy, if you choose that option, you choose that action, then immediately the universe begins reflecting that energy, flowing that energy through to you, so that you can then move forward and have the energy available to enact change within your life. Five of Swords. Yeah, that's a funny one, and I learned a lot around that. And as the case was at that time in my early 20s, that related to relationship a lot of times. Like lack of either self confidence or self worth, worthiness, those types of energies. That I saw show up in a couple of moments of me not taking action, not choosing to pursue something that that could have been an excellent opportunity for learning and for growth. And so therefore this guy is an old friend of mine, and I think it really is a potent reflection in this moment. Not that this is the energy of the Lion's Gate, but that the opportunity for us to take advantage of transmuting these types of patterns of energy, the old imprinted stories, that we have the opportunity to change that story, to take action, seeking to, align ourselves with that which comes next, not these failures from our past that have negatively impacted us. So I hope that you find that interesting and helpful, and I will look forward to the next opportunity to connect.